Hi, my name is David, and in today's video we're going to take a look at the Mini Ghost printer. You probably recognize the setup from previous videos, but one thing kind of changed, right? I've got a much smaller printer set up for today's printing job. This is Mini Ghost. We've introduced Mini Ghost a couple of months ago as our most affordable, low-budget printer to start off with. Mini Ghost is based on an HP Laser 150A printer, but you can also use the matching Ghost white toner cartridge in your HP Color Laser 178 and 179 multifunctional printer, or in the accompanying HP Laser 150 NW printer, which also features network and Wi-Fi capabilities. This is a pretty simple printer. I'm gonna quickly take a look at it. As you can see, it's quite small. It's smaller than our little Ghost and much smaller than our big Ghost. It just has one small paper tray here at the bottom, which you open like this. And it's got 4 cartridges installed, which you can see here. It's got the white, cyan, magenta, and yellow. And of course, all colors are available from Ghost white toner as well. With the white toner installed, like in this setup, everything black on the screen will print in white. I just check if I have the Laserdark transfer media inside the printer. Have I told you what we're printing on? No, not yet. We're actually printing on wood. Many of you asked us to make videos how to print on wood, as this is something which can be used in many different applications. This is like a bamboo kind of cutting board, but you could also use this to print on dishes or on dishware, or just like in a previous video that we made on wood design paper and stuff like that. So a very interesting application, especially for gift items and for different kinds of really nice prints. So what we're going to do is we're going to preheat our heat press to 160 degrees, and for this job we're going to use the Laserdark transfer media. You know this media from printing onto t-shirts and textiles of all sorts, but this also works really well on wood. We also have a media called Multitrans, but we only recommend the Multitrans media to be used in hard surface applications where the surface of the product has a more kind of closed surface. For example, like ceramics or glass or metal. But for everything that is kind of natural, like cotton or wood, we recommend using this paper. I already have one sheet of A-foil transfer paper in the printer. This is like a transparent media, which is scratch sensitive, and I insert this media with the matte side facing up to print in the right direction. I'm heading over to my computer screen now, and I have my design here on the screen. As you can see, we've got like a chef's design with lots of veg and a big knife, and I quickly walk you through the settings as usual. So just hit the print button and choose Ghost, Mini Ghost from the printers, and then I just check my details here. So this printer has not many options, but quite a few. So we're just going to check the paper tab, and we're going to select a paper type to be printing on the Laserdark media. I'm going to use lightweight paper, 60 to 74 grams. This worked well for us. You see that there are many other options, so really you can play along with it, but this works well for us. And I'm going to set the print mode to grayscale printing, because I only want to print in white this time, and I'm also going to have the economy mode turned on. This printer driver actually does not allow for automatic mirror imaging. So if you have a design that you want to print and transfer, and where you actually have text or things that need to be mirrored in, you will have to do that in any kind of graphic software. You can do that with InDesign, Photoshop, or many other options out there. But I don't need mirror image printing here because the design does take care for it. But if you have text, especially text in your design, make sure that you mirror the image before you print it. Okay, once I've got everything set here, I just hit the print button and we see the print coming out. Once the print job is done, we can start the transfer process. You can see that the design is in this way that it will actually fit the complete board and will give a really nice thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a B sheet and quickly preheat my press. It's heated to 160 degrees and I'm pressing with quite some heavy pressure. I preheat the press as I do with all white toner transfer products to make sure that the lower plate is hot so that I get a nice and clean transfer from A to B. All right, put these two together. Now this should be fine for the preheating. Open up the press and make sure I place it on the hot lower plate and I cover it up with some copy paper. This is a good step to avoid air bubbles and to smoothen out the pressure. Now I close this and I will be pressing for 2 minutes with 160 degrees Celsius, and then I'm going to separate A and B while still hot. This is the same process through all our transfer systems. The only thing that changes is the printer. With Mini Ghost, you have a very affordable, low budget entry option. Little Ghost and Big Ghost offer you more, and this is basically the same. The only thing that differs is the print and maybe the settings, but from here on, from the press, it's all the same through all our products. Once the time on the heat press is up, I'm quickly going to open the heat press and wipe over the A and B foil with a cloth. This can be like a kitchen cloth or just maybe an old piece of fabric. The idea behind this is to have the pressure and the heat lift up evenly, prevent air bubbles, and I will also use this to prevent burning my fingers. Once the time is up, the heat press flips open. I pull out the table here, take away the copy paper and give the design a quick wipe. And then I'm going to take the B paper, hold down the A foil, and then just gently and smoothly peel it off. And you can see that the glue, the adhesive, which is on the B sheet, has actually reacted with the toner on the A foil. And this thermal activated reaction causes the glue to marry with the toner. You see there's an indentation everywhere where the print was, and this will actually make these designs transfer to the final product without any cutting or weeding. So you will get the design to the board without any cutting or weeding. I now quickly cut along the edges. This is just to make sure that if some glue from the B sheet did, come over on the edges of the A foil, I don't transfer this to my cutting board here. Okay, once I've got this cut, I'm now ready to adjust my heat press to fit the cutting board under the press. Therefore, I need to pull it down and then screw up so that I really get the lowest possible setting here, because the cutting board is quite heavy. As you can see, I've changed the heat press on my workspace. This was because the other heat press, I couldn't get enough space between the lower and the top plate to actually fit this piece of wood in. That's one limitation of pressing onto wood. You gotta make sure that your heat press accommodates for enough space on the lower plate to lower it down or to raise the upper plate. So we switched to this press, and as you can see, I can easily put this piece of wood under the press and still close it. And that is important for this transfer, and it's also a swing away press. Okay, so how is this done? This is pretty simple, as you know it. I place my substrate, in this case this piece of wood here, on the lower plate. I take my A foil after the transfer and I place it and align it. This is really handy. I always like to work with this material. Then I take some silicone paper, what we call this matte finish, and I cover this up. And now I'm going to press with a medium to heavy pressure, and I'm going to do this for 15 to 20 seconds. The Laserdark media, as I always say, is very flexible, very versatile in its application, but you will always have to try with the times and the temperature a little bit before you get it right when you print on something new. So this was roughly 20 seconds. And now, again, as usual, I take the design off the heat press and I let it cool down completely. This can take a while, as wood tends to take heat into it very, very well, and the heat stays in the wood for a longer time, so we really recommend to even have it rest overnight or speed up the cooling by, holding it outside the window or putting it in a cool place so that you make sure that the heat is completely off the design. It's not only touch cool, but really cool. Now that the design is cool to the touch, we can start peeling it off. As usual, we start at one of the edges and we start by gently rolling over the design. You hear the typical noise that it makes when you peel. Apply some pressure with your hands to make sure that the foil comes off. Alright, as you can see, we get a nice and clean transfer, and we now have it on our board. Because this is something that you're probably going to want to wash in something, we're going to give it a quick repress on the heat press with silicone paper to make sure that everything is nice and sticks to the substrate. I'm repressing for 5 to 10 seconds just to make sure that the design melts in even deeper into the wood and that we get a really durable transfer. Of course, as this piece of wood here is probably be used as a chopping board, when you chop over it with a knife, you will certainly not only damage the wood but also damage your print over time. But I think it really makes a nice present for someone who is a hobbyist chef, or even if you've got a restaurant or something. I think this really looks cool and it's a great durable transfer. The foil is also pretty scratch resistant, but again, if you chop over it with a knife, you are very likely to ruin the print. But for the kitchen or just as a piece of art, I think it's really nice. I hope you like this kind of design and you also like these kinds of videos. This is how versatile the Laserdark A foil and B transfer media in combination with Ghost White toner are. You can print on many different things such as textiles, but also on more complicated surfaces like wood. If you liked the video, please leave us a thumbs up below. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel and hit the button if you're not. And also turn on the bell and you will get notified if we put out new videos and you will always stay up to date. For today, I say thanks for watching and see you next time.